Hello, it's Michelle Murphy, and after many years doing the workday on Mix 102.3 in Adelaide, I have moved over to the ACE radio network, and I'm very happy to be on every afternoon across the east coast of Australia, Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. Now it's the quarter hour with Wade Kingsley.
Oh, thanks, Michelle. Lovely to hear you across the country now on the ACE radio network. Today on the Quarter Hour podcast, you might notice I sound a little different because I'm driving to Kyle and Jackie O's outside broadcast, and we're going to talk all things obese. Dear listener, hello. I am currently on my way to Kyle and Jackie O's outside broadcast. For those that are not in Australia, Kyle and Jackie O is Australia's biggest radio show. Self-proclaimed, it must be admitted, because they're on in Sydney and Melbourne only in breakfast time, or morning show. If you want to refer to the North American version of a breakfast show, it's the morning show. I'm currently driving there, and the reason I've started this episode in the car and not on site is I want to kind of hear it as a listener first. One thing that's always something to think about with an outside broadcast, of course, is that the vast majority of people will still only hear it. They'll hear it through the radio. Some people will follow it on the socials, of course, but only a small number of people will actually see it on site. So what I thought I'd do is just do this first bit in the car as I'm listening and give you some impressions of that. And when we get there, I'm going to talk about the setup and talk about what works, maybe have a look at some things that I reckon could be improved. And we can go from there. So I've got Kyle and Jackie O in the background at the moment. They're giving away $100,000 in a ball drop. So what they said was they were basically going to drop balls from a helicopter. This helicopter would fly over the top of a tennis court. I think the visual imagery they're trying to paint is of a tennis ball dropping, but I'm pretty sure they're bigger than that. And in the balls, in total, there's $100,000 worth of jewellery, and some cash prizes as well, and that's to do with the sponsor. I think they've got a sponsor on board to deliver some jewellery. Now, what's really interesting in the build-up to this is they actually said there would be a helicopter flying over. It would drop a whole heap of balls onto this tennis court where contest winners, people who would enter the draw, get a chance to catch the balls, and then they win what's inside them. The first thing I noticed this morning listening is there's no helicopter. They actually had said there would be, and then they'd made a point of saying that some local council or local politician or government authority has said no to the helicopter. So they ended up having a cherry picker, like a really tall kind of mobile structure, and Alfie from the Kyle and Jackie O show was dropping the balls from the cherry picker. So what's interesting, I think, in the lead up is the theatre of the mind. You know, you get a sense that there's going to be this helicopter dropping these balls everywhere, and that it would be amazing, and you know, the sight of this helicopter swooping in. And at the end of the day, it's been a cherry picker. Now, on the air, I don't think it's made too much difference, because effectively it's still the same thing that was going to happen. They've just gone to a break, so I'm just going to turn that down. But the cherry picker is interesting because they've obviously had to find a way, whether it was last minute, you know, whether they actually didn't foresee this problem happening and the last minute they had to get a cherry picker, or maybe they never really got the approval on the helicopter and they had the cherry picker as a standby option just in case of weather anyway, and went with that. You can't imagine it would have been a phone call late last night saying, sorry, no helicopter, the weather's really clear, so it wouldn't have been a weather issue. So as a listener, and remembering with Kyle and Jackie O's ratings, they're number one in Sydney, so, or number two now after Smooth, I should say. But having a listen to the show coming from the radio, it sounds pretty exciting. Like, it sounds like something you're kind of interested in and would want to be at. Sometimes outside broadcasts can feel like it's all for the people there and you only have fun if you're there. And a lot of radio shows do a good job of making sure that, remembering that the most people are hearing it through the radio, that they're making the radio show still sound really good and important. So I would say so far, Kyle and Jack have done a great job of that. And I'm about to arrive on site, and I'll take some video as well and post it to the socials. But I'll tell you what it looks like when I get there. Hi, how are you? Sorry, I'm just testing audio. I'm having a look at issues.
I didn't know.
Nice to meet you.
Lovely to meet
You too.
Finally. Sorry, I was like, if you're live streaming,
Nah.
I'm so sorry.
Totally fine.
I have a shirt
Thank
for
you so much.
That's
I shall
okay.
don it shortly.
Oh, good. No, I was like, I just grabbed the first one I could see. I was like,
Great.
if it fits. Awesome.
Perfect.
Apologies if it doesn't.
Oh, good. All right, I'll test some audio, then I'll come over and have a look.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just hanging down around that kind of area where the lamb sign is.
Yeah, nice.
So
Cool.
yeah, so I don't know about that.
We'll do. Thank you. See ya. Well, here we are. I've arrived on site and I can see a pretty impressive setup, actually. It sort of takes over a whole space. The big Kyle and Jackie O bus is there. There it is. It exists. It's a real bus. They're not broadcasting from it, despite it saying live broadcast studio, but it is there. People can see it as they drive past. And I've got to say the setup is pretty impressive. Kyle and Jack don't do things by halves. They've got a couple of their streetcars here. They've got probably, I reckon, about, if I was to count, about 100 people here at the moment, bearing in mind that the ball drop has happened. So this is after the event now, as I wanted to listen to it on the radio. And now they're giving away more prizes, people lining up. So they're definitely doing a good job of keeping people entertained as they go through the morning. So if you're watching this video, you can see I'm just showing you a few pictures of what it looks like. But yeah, it's pretty impressive. So the thing with outside broadcasts, of course, is, you know, do they work for the people there? Do they attract new audiences? I'm going to just take a stab here and say a lot of people who are here would be absolute Kyle and Jackie O P1s. I'm saying that because they look like they've been here all morning. There's people who clearly are absolutely in love with Kyle and Jack. They're all milling around, listening, hanging off every word. So they've got a broadcast spot, they've got like a game spot as well, and there's lots of good things going on. Now I'm going to approach, I don't have a restraining order that I'm aware of, so I'm going to approach Kyle and Jack a little bit closer to see if I can see their broadcast point and have a look at what they're talking about. They're on a stage, they've got a cash cock here as well, of course they do. And just one thing I remembered too, if you're listening to this from North America, an outside broadcast is a remote. They're the same thing pretty much, broadcasting show remotely. So it's looking pretty good. Heading over towards where they are now. They've got a stage, which looks amazing. Everything's looking great. Hi, I'm not live, but I'm recording.
Great to meet you.
Intern Pete, how are you?
I'm good.
I love your suit.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Nice
Thank you,
colour.
sir. How long have you been here?
I just arrived.
Oh, great.
I've been listening and then coming. So
Okay,
yeah.
so you're doing all the fun.
I heard it. It was good.
Great to finally meet you.
Yeah,
by the
you
way.
too.
Yeah, good.
You good? Okay, we are live
I've got a little
close
bit
to
of
stage
radio
now.
news from other radio networks. So
Oh.
Channel 9 have sold Melbourne's 3AW and Sydney's 2GB
Cole's doing media news.
to a guy who owns Hubs. He might as well give it a go. He'll probably do a better job than Channel 9 did.
Well, you don't really
Well, they made no money, so that's why it was worth 130 million, and they think they sold it for about 50. Over at the Nova network, your favourite drive time show of Richie Lee and them have been cancelled. Yeah. You know, the girl Coast Idol as well. That show's cancelled. I know it does very well for Nova. They decided to move it into the Sydney breakfast spot instead. And you guys will just be getting Fitzy and Wither and the girl from Home and Away in the afternoon. So, it didn't go down very well with the crowd here either. But don't worry, upward nominate. We stole a young guy from Nova as well. You might know him as Smallsy, very popular broadcaster. He was sick of working over at Nova, so he now works with us.
That's right, yeah, boy.
It's like dating in high school. One
Yeah.
week you're with someone, next week you're with someone else.
Kyle's talking about the Nova changes.
She's on that throw.
All right, I am getting back in the car after that event, and it was really good. I would give them good marks for coming. It's obviously a very expensive event. I think they had like something like 30 staff on site, and some from Sydney, a lot from Melbourne, obviously. But overall, I think they did a really good job of bringing the show to life for people down here in Melbourne, which we know is their big ratings challenge at the moment. So hopefully we see more of them in 2026. Now, I'd love to know your thoughts on outside broadcasts, remotes, whatever you want to call them. Do you think that they're still a great thing to do? Are people turning up to look at people talk on the radio? Is that still interesting? Is that something that your radio station's doing or you'd like to do more of? Obviously, I know there's budget pressures around a lot of this stuff these days, and most outside broadcasts or remotes are client funded in some way or another. So you end up at a Total Tools on a Saturday or a Bunnings on a Sunday or wherever it might be. And it's pretty much just an announcer speaking and back announcing songs. But I think when they're an event like this, when it's actually come along, meet the team, Intern Pete does a great job with the crowd here at the Kyle and Jackie O event. There's rides, there's prizes, there's stuff. It is like a little mini carnival. And I think for people out in the real world, not in radio world, when a radio show as big as Kyle and Jackie O's comes to your neighbourhood, or Fifi Feather Nick do so well in Melbourne as well, I'm a big fan of getting the shows out of studios. I think studios are great for some performers. We know a lot of people prefer just to broadcast in a studio, and they like being able to not be seen by people. But I think, as I said in episode 1 of this pod a few weeks ago, that really in 2026 in radio, you're either in a marketing role or a sales role. You're either trying to acquire audience or you're trying to convert revenue. And I think what Kyle and Jackie O do well when they do it is get out and acquire listeners and try and build that core P1 audience into longer listeners, which will hopefully increase their share, so they think. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Outside Broadcast, give me some stories. Give me your thoughts on whether you think it's good. I'm going to run a poll on the WhatsApp group. If you'd like to join our WhatsApp group, by the way, become a P1 today. It's like literally the last day for you to join and be a P1 for free. From February onwards, there's a small fee to be a P1, but there's lots of benefits in there. You get merch, which I'm getting made right now. You are going to get a chance to do the ID at the top of the episode, like Michelle did today. We've got a separate WhatsApp group where we talk about all sorts of things, radio, ratings and everything. And I do a regular email as well, just for the P1. So jump on thequarterhour.com, become a P1 today. Okay, liner notes. Let's have a look at these. Now, I did get a bit of feedback after the Triple J episode yesterday, saying, you told us it was going to be 15 minutes. That episode went 18. Look, it did, because the guests were great and they had a lot to say. So, yes, of course, I'm trying to do the good radio discipline of timing out at the 15-minute mark, and it's going to be around that mark. I'm never going to go longer on purpose. So, in fact, speaking of which, I better go on with it now. Couple of interesting liner notes. I noticed a station in Phoenix in Arizona has launched the first all AI, it's a mouthful, on-air lineup. It's called 94.9 The Zone, where music matters. And basically the Zone's format is basically all voice models of people who are real. So they use AI-infused kind of presenters, as they're describing it. But they're at pains to say that the format structure is shaped by human program decisions, but executed through AI systems. So I'll be very interested to see the ratings in Phoenix, to see how 94.9 The Zone goes. What else I want to talk to you about? I'll do a couple of quick shout outs for the P1s at the end of every episode. I'm going to say hello to Ben Willie. G'day, Ben. I'm going to say hi to Anthony Gerace. G'day, Anthony. From the ABC, I'm going to say hello to Kylie Martin. Thanks for being a P1, Kylie. And I'm going to say hello to Freddie Moffat. G'day, Freddie. Thanks for joining the pod. It's been a great episode. I'm glad I can take the show out. I'm going to air check myself to see what I can learn about doing an OB. It's the first time I've ever done one, particularly on a podcast. So I will share that with you as we go on. But our next episode is going to be huge as well. Nick and Lauren are going to be talking about Harry Styles and how radio shows can reflect pop culture in different ways. But for now, live on location from Frankston, that's been the Quarter Hour.